everybody. Hi, it's Monday evening. At least it is on the Pacific Coast, and it's 8 p.m. So what does that mean? Whoa, it means Merle's Pearls. I've been married over 50 years to the same man. Happily. At least most happily. There was that year in year 19 or 20, which I've talked about a lot of times. But other than that year, perfectly happy relationship. Over 50 years, I want to tell you, I must know something about relationship. And so I am here to give my pearls of wisdom. Oh, I'm not wearing pearls today. I forgot all about it. Oh, but that's okay. These might be like little water pearls. I'm not sure. So the topic today is, I think, very interesting. How many date nights does a relationship or a marriage... This really turns out, the statistics I found relates to marriages more, and not necessarily to live-ins. So that's kind of interesting. Just for those people that think that live-in is good enough and it's not important to get married, married is just for legal purposes and things like that. Actually, there is a difference in the amount of commitment that people feel. But I digress before I even get to the topic. So the topic is, how many date nights does it take to have a happy, ongoing relationship? There's a lot of joking about, after the first week, after the first year, after whatever, that sex doesn't exist anymore. And turns out that it's not the same as when you were dating. There is a difference. I want to tell you, there's a difference in the amount of sex you have when you think this is it, you can't get any more. And then when you think, oh, well, we'll be in bed tomorrow too, so we don't have to do it tonight. It's kind of like when you go out to eat, or when you go to a wedding or something, and there's all this fancy food, and there's stuff that you haven't had because you're careful. You could be on a diet, or maybe it's just because it's not healthy, or whatever reason, you're not having that food on a regular basis. But oh my gosh, when you see it on the table, if it's a buffet or they serve it to you on your table, I say, oh, I never eat this. It's lemon meringue pie for me. I never eat lemon meringue pie, but there is no chance that I'm going to give up a piece of lemon meringue pie if it's served to me, because I'll never order it. I trust me, I will not ever order it. But if it comes as a part of the party I'm in, I probably won't eat the crust, but I'll eat everything else. So that's the way it can be with sex. So dating, there's a more urgency because you don't know. You just don't know. But when you're married, you kind of know. You ought to know. So this is what, and I have to tell you, I got some statistics. Hey, what's the internet for but to get statistics? And this was written by somebody, called Andrea Fowler. And this is how many date nights you need for a successful marriage. Isn't that hilarious? It's a hilarious title. That's good marketing. So, and she quotes a study, not her own study. She quotes a study from Harry Benson, from the Marriage Foundation, and Steve McKay from the University of Lincoln. They studied a group of almost 10,000 couples. Now that's a lot. And these were couples with a young child. And, as soon as you have children in the mix, it's harder to have sex, and it's more important to have sex, because sex is a vacation. And you need to have a vacation, especially when you have kids, because you're working double hard. You're doing your work, you're cleaning the house, and you're taking care of a kid who answers back. Kids, I've had a few. They're challenging and they're fabulous, but they can wear you out. Teachers are the most worn out of all professions. When I was a teacher, I came home and passed out. That was it. So children drain your energy, and therefore it's really important that you take your little vacation. And sex, according to me, is a little vacation. So this is what they said. Here's how the frequency of date nights broke down. Once a week or more. 11% of that 10,000 people, 11% of them did it once a week or more. Once a month, 30%. Less often than once a month is 23%. And hardly ever was 36%. Now that's, I feel sad about that. So now, this is what's interesting, is that the groups were monitored for over the next 10 years. This was a study, I have to tell you. And it turns out, okay, what do you think? Daniel Goodman, you're watching. Joyce Novak is watching. What do you think? Do you think once a week, the 11% were the relationship healthiest? Once a month, 30%? Less than once a month, 23%? Hardly ever, 36%? Which do you think was the one that had the best chance of carrying on a good relationship? Okay. I'll tell you, because you wouldn't guess. I want to tell you, you wouldn't guess. Once a month, 30%. That group was monitored over the next 10 years, and the couples who had date nights once a month, listen to this, had the highest odds of staying together compared with any of the other groups. Once a month they'll do it. I told you, it's like a vacation. So, and that was only true for the married couples, not couples who simply live together. Isn't that kind of interesting? And that's what I told you at the beginning of the broadcast, was there's a different commitment with marriage than there is with living together. And maybe it is because the legal stuff. Maybe it is because you get so entangled. I don't have the answer to that. I just know that there's a difference. So this is what, that's not the end of what's interesting, because the couples who went out weekly, you think more sex, more happy? Not necessarily, because they didn't do as well as the monthly people. And what they figured out is that you've got to be on too much. You got to, just like people that go out more than, well, I do more than once a month. We go out more than once a month. But if it's more than once a week, you get, it's too much. It's a strain. It's hard to fit into your life unless you aren't doing a lot else. So, hi Lauren, once a month, having sex, once a month, that was the group that had the most successful marriage. You have to tell me that that's not interesting. I mean, was there anything else I wanted to say in here? Uh, oh, the relationship between how often couples go out and their likelihood of staying together isn't linear, which means going out the more often doesn't mean that it's better. I think some people live in a common law relationship to avoid legal ramblings later, just my opinion. Like no strings attached. I think you're right. But that then, if Raymond, if people live in common law relationships to avoid the legal entanglements, that's a shallower level of commitment than a deeper level of, I'll entangle myself legally and every other way because we are connected. We are souls connected. When you really love, when you finally let down the last guard, it's like in theater, the fourth wall is the wall between the people on the stage. I messed up my hair. And the audience, that's the fourth wall. And sometimes people talk and get in. I just was in a performance like that. They get into the audience and have the audience act with them. They break down that wall. If you can break down every wall that prevents you from being connected as a couple, that's a deeper commitment. And that's why a marriage, what is true for a married couple is not necessarily true for live-ins. Now, I want to say something about that. There is no better or worse way to live your life. For some people, live-in relationship just work. They've had their issues with the other ways of being, and they just live together and they're happy. Some people, they go for the full-on marriage thing. And stick it out, and some don't stick it out, and some people, my friend Patty, it's her third marriage, but it's a charm. So there isn't a way to be, but so I'm not saying what's better or worse. I'm saying that these are the characteristics of these different kinds of relationships. The important thing to know for today is that sex is important. It's a part of a relationship. It doesn't have to be the whole thing. And sometimes I will tell you, women complain, that's all he thinks about, that's all he wants. I want to say that men are less able to express their feelings. And so a lot of times when they want to say, I love you, their brain takes a left turn and goes to let's have sex. Because it's a way that they can physicalize that love without necessarily having to say I love you. Or they may say it, but it can never express how deeply they feel that. I think a lot of time, now I'm not talking about before you have a relationship. I'm not talking about casual sex. Casual sex is casual sex. I'm talking about sex in a relationship. And women have to understand that sex is a man's language. And that's, sometimes his insistence is a good thing, because there are activities that we all sometimes need to be pushed into doing, and then when we do it, oh my gosh, that's kind of neat. So um, that's that's the wonderful that's the wonderful thing about relationships. It's a wonderful thing about having a romantic relationship, and it can be same sex. The same things apply regardless of who your lover is. That connection to that person, that's what's significant. And that's why the whole movement with the LGBTQ community, and it's wonderful. Anytime you can find a way to have someone else in your life that you love and loves you back, that's golden. Let it be anybody. That is totally golden. And you know, that's all I have to say. I so just remember, if you're only doing it once a month, your chances of having a successful relationship is excellent, because it's at least enough to be like a pressure valve. I think sex kind of gives you a chance to let go of some of that energy that gets built up in the tensions of living. So you've got at least that. And once a month doesn't mean it can't be every other week, once in a while. It depends. Also, the other thing I wanted to say was how often and how you do sex, I think, has to do with your age, the time of how long you're in the relationship, whether there's children involved or not, all kinds of different situations. Thank you, Raymond. That are in your life. So we all adapt. The love we have with someone else and how we express that love adapts to whether we're working 24 hours a day and we're too exhausted to barely say hello. And when I talked about somebody, in another time, about somebody that just got mad at their spouse because he was sick and just couldn't be expressive. I mean, if you're literally physically sick, get well. Then you can be expressive. And the other partner has to be understanding and loving and caring. That's a good relationship is gold. So enjoy it and value it and be intentional and give. Yes, you come first. You have to fill up your own well of enjoyment and love and caring so that you have something to give. But the reason you take care of yourself and you love yourself and do things that are important to yourself is so that you have that energy and love to give to somebody else who cares about you and you really care about. Or if it's just doing, not just doing, but it could also be doing something in the community with passion. Anyway, that's what people are, all different kind of people. So we can do all kind of different things and make up a fabulous world. So that's it. So I'm Relationship Miracle Worker. My website is relationshipmiracleworker.com. I'm here every Monday at 8 p.m. I'm here every Monday morning at 11 a.m. with Monday Morning with Merle and Patty. I tried to do it today and I couldn't get Patty on. I invited her on. I was at the hospital. Nathan had cataract surgery, so I thought I had the timing all figured out, but not exactly. So that's it. Like me, tell everybody else about me, and have a fabulous, you can see in the background, Cracking the Relationship Code, the Valentine Relationship book. Go to my website and click the link to buy whichever book you want, both books, of course, because they're fabulous. they're instructive and fun to read and short. I am a believer in short books, so so you actually read them. Okay, have a great week. Take care, everybody. Bye.